Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, let's talk about document splitting, chunking based practices with LangChain. I have been creating many videos. For example, if you go to these videos here, I have now created a playlist where it says better RAG approaches, and I have explained different, let's say better RAG approaches videos. And here in the beginning, I'm just adding this how to get started with LLM so that you get more understanding about LLMs. There is this llama parse, one better RAG in action. This one is good because it has both the LangChain and llama index llama parse, and there is this advanced RAG for, let's say, re-ranking things. And one thing that many people take it as a granted is the chunking part, right? In this video, I'll be mainly focusing on the chunking part, and let's try to, let's say, find a better approach on chunking. Let's get started. As you can see on the screen, this is the notebook that I'm going to follow. And if you want to follow along with me, you can go to my GitHub repository. It is YouTube stops here. I will provide the link in the description. But if you go inside the YouTube stops, there is this LangChain folder. Inside the folder, you can see that there is different files, and there is chunk data effectively.ipython, right? Just clone these YouTube stops, and of course you need to create a virtual environment, activate the virtual environment, and so on. So here I have cloned the repository, and inside this there is a file, let's say, called .venv, because I have already created the virtual environment. What you need to do is create the virtual environment first and then activate the virtual environment, and we can just open this here. I have already opened this in the VS Code, and it is here in the VS Code, right? In the beginning, let's try to understand, okay, what are we trying to achieve here? So are you doing chunking properly? What is the default splitter? What is the chunk size? What is the chunk overlap? Are there different splitters? It's easy, just chunk and that's it. Is it really the case? Right? These are the things that we'll try to solve in this particular video, and we will be going through some of the splitters. As you can see here, this is the character text splitter, recursive character text splitter, token text splitter, and markdown header text splitter in this video. There are many of those things. I will show you how you can find all the different things. But yeah, now this is the diagram that I have been explaining you for quite a long time, right? But if you see, I will be mainly focusing on this part here. In the playlist, there are different parts where the llama parse was focusing on this part, extracting the documents, and then I have shown you the re-ranking part, which is mainly focusing on this part, and building a complete RAG platforms and so on, right? But this video is mainly focusing on this chunking part, because this is one of the essential part. But people just think that, okay, just use one of the splitter, that's it, right? That is not the case. Of course that is the case if you want to just go around, but if you are working on, or let's say, production grade RAG applications, getting the basics of how actually we need to chunk the documents, right? So yeah, let me clear this. So yeah, now let's dive in. Here what I have done is, let me expand this, or I run it already. Let me expand this. Why is it needed, right? While answering, the answer might be in a different chunks, no correct answer. So that is main objective of why the chunking is necessary. For example, let's say you ask a question and it went all here and find the relevant chunks and all the things. But if, let's say, the question that you are asking does not fall in those chunks, then what happens? You don't get the right answer. That is the main objective of why chunk is necessary, and also why the best practices is necessary. Here, just to show you what are the different text splitters in LangChain, because I'm focusing on the LangChain in this video. There are different text splitter based on your use cases. For this video, as I said, we will be going through these 4 of these. So yeah, now let's dive in. Just 4 mostly used ones. Here I am, of course, importing the character text splitter and the recursive character text splitter, right? First, let's just provide the chunk size of 26 and the chunk overlap of 4. This is just the normal things that I'm providing here. And now we are importing the recursive character splitter, and there is the character text splitter, and we are just passing these variables inside this, right? So we are just instantiating these character text splitter and recursive character text splitter. Now let's go and see the basic example before going into the real world, so we know how the chunking works. For example, here is the text, the simple ABCD text. So I run it. How many are there? It's just ABCD to Z, so it's 26 characters. Now how does the chunking works, right? We have the chunk size of 26 and chunk overlap of 4. Remember these things here. So now if I run this R, meaning the recursive text splitter, what happens? If I run this, it all goes into the one chunk because we have the chunk size of 26, right? And now if I go with the character text splitter, it also falls under that because it's in the 26. Now let's create longer text. So now I have added some additional things, and now if you go, there are 33 characters. If you run the same thing, it divides into 2 chunks, and if you see the last one here, it is W X Y Z, right? And we have here W X Y Z. I hope you get the idea now, because what we are trying to achieve here is the chunk overlap of 4 characters. This might be a basic things for some of you, but if you are complete beginners, I'm trying to go in that path so that you know how things work. What happens if we do the, let's say, character text splitter? So if I do this also, but it is not splitting here, right? It should split, isn't it? According to what we have said here, it is 26 and it is 4. But when we went through the splitter, it splits into 2 chunks, but here it didn't split into the two chunks. So how does it work with space between the characters? That is next thing I want to show you. But why it is not splitting here is because by default there are some of the splitters. If I hover on top of this is the character text splitter, right? And what you can do is, let me create a new shell here, and I will write here character text splitter and 2 question marks at the end. So if you go and see in the documents, it says that the separator is /n/n, right? What does this /n/n means, and why it is not splitting into different chunks, but why is it splitting in the recursive splitter is the question, right? So if I just go here and say maybe recursive, so if I do the recursive text splitter, and let me remove this part here, and if I run this, you can see that the separators, it's the optional list of the strings. It's not just the /n/n, right? And if you go down here, the separators, or you can see these are the separators here, and it separates here because first it goes through this splitter, then it goes into this, it goes into this space, and it goes into the last one, right? Based on the splitters, the text is being splitted. So this, I have watched many videos, I have also created many videos, but I haven't explained you before also, okay, why is this splitting happening or why not. So now you know that, okay, there are different separators for different splitters, right? That is one level of understanding already. Now what happens if there is the space between the characters, right? Let me just go here. Okay, I run this, and let me also show you what is the length of this. So if I go here and say length text 3, okay, there is 51 because it is counting this space also here. But now what happens if we split this? If I split this, as you can see here, it splits into 1, 2, and then 3. And there are also some overlaps. As you can see here, before there was X, Y, W, X, Y, Z, but it's now, let's say WX, because there is the space also attached to those different characters. So it is splitting based on those, right? So now what happens if it goes with the character text splitter? If I go here, so it does not do any splittings, right? Why is character text splitter not splitting might be the question. I have already explained you in the first part, but yeah, it splits on single character and by default it's new line. So that is the answer which I already explained you in my previous example, right? But if you go to the recursive, there are different splitters, right? So now, so this is also another example here. This is the C character is splitter, and there is this splitting on the empty, as you can see here. What happens if we do this? If I just run this, so now, as you can see here, this is the C splitter splitting the same text tree. It is not splitting, it's just one chunk here. But now when I change the separator, now as you can see here, it is splitting it into 3 different chunks, similar to the recursive character text splitter which we split it here, because it is now going into the space or the separator. It saw the space and then it is splitting into different chunks. And as you can see here, this is the same, and here is another example also. So what is the example here? I'm just passing the reason behind showing this is you need to be careful how many chunks you want to do, in which situations you want to do, and so on. I hope now you get the idea a little bit how the basic chunking works, right? Now let's go with the recursive splitting details, right? So here is the text. Now let's go with the text rather than just the characters. So here remember that there is this text and there is paragraph change here. So I can just print okay, just some text. And what is the length of this? It is 496. But our chunk size now, let's provide 450, and let's use the chunk overlap of 0, and we are using the separator here, space as the separator. And here we are using this, all the 4 things, list of the separators. I said you before also, /n is the double new lines right here, and there is this new line, there is this space and nothing, so goes from left to right, meaning that, as I explained also you before, but this is really good information you need to remember, because we just use the recursive character text splitter and that's it. We don't know what is happening behind the scene, right? First it goes and splits it into this one, next it goes into this and this and this. So that is how it works, right? So what happens if I just run this? Okay, I run this, and now I said okay, some text. What happens with the character text splitter? So here, as you can see here, this is one chunk all the way, and it goes here ideas, right? And if you go down, there is also here, there is the splitting things happening. This is the ideas, it's just the ideas, but here is where the splitting is happening. As you can see, this is the 450 characters because we have 496, and then remaining is here. We don't have the chunk overlap, so it is 0, so it is not overlapping here. This is with the character text splitter because we have this spaces as separator. What happens now if we go with the R splitter? This is the main thing that you need to be looking or watching or doing it carefully. So if I run this now, as you can see, although our chunk size is 450, it is splitted here. What is the case? You can just pause the video and think, why did it split here? There are 2 different chunks. It didn't follow this chunk size 450, but it is splitted into 2 different chunks. What is the case here? Is because in the recursive character text splitter, we have this /n/n, that is the double new lines, right? If you go to our text, here is the double 2 lines, meaning that although you have defined 450 as the chunk size, the recursive character text splitter splits the documents already in these double 2 lines. Hence you can see that it is splitting into here. And what we can do is we can of course go here into this part if you want to see how many chunk it is, right? Length, and you can just go here and print it. So there is 2 chunks, right? That is how you can see how many chunks it is divided, just to make sure that it is correct. Now let's reduce the chunk size a bit. As you can see here, there was 450, now we can reduce to 150, and then just run this. Okay, there is the splitting happening, and here there is the length split. You can just assign these to the variables. That what we do when we do in the documents, and you can just check, okay, how many splitting it has done. Or if you just want to print, you can just do a for loop and print all the different things, right? So that is the normal thing. And okay, this is the same thing I'm showing you before. Just run this, and okay, splitting 1 equals to 147 characters, splitting 2 is happening in the 100 characters, and splitting 3 142, and then there is this 100 characters. So, and why there is 100 might be the case, as I explained you before also, because we have in our text the /n/n which overtakes the chunk size. Hence we have the different splitting things. Yeah, you can just run this and see, okay, what is the length of this and how many splitting had been done and so on. Now what we can do is, now let's go with the PDF, right? First you need to install PyPDF in order to read the PDF things, and once this is installed, just load the data. I have already provided this data GPT for all PDF, and it is inside this data folder, and I have already uploaded this in the GitHub also. You can just run this. Now I am saying here from LangChain the document loaders, import the PyPDF, the normal things, and I'm just loading here. Okay, how many pages? There are 6 different pages. If you just want to see, okay, page 0, as you can see here, these are all the things that is in the page 0, right? And this is the GPT for all paper. And what we can do now is, now we can have the character text splitter, and we can provide the separators. You can even provide the chunk size here, chunk overlap, and the length function L. I have explained here that this parameter specifies a function to determine the length of the text, right? You can just run this, and by default it is using that, but this is just example. Okay, what is it being used behind the scene kind of things. So now, yeah, this one line of code now does the splitting things, right? So we just pass the pages, and now if you do the length of documents and if you do the length of pages, we have 6 different pages that is extracted from the PDF file. We did the chunking things, and now it is 28 different, let's say, docs from that documents, or the chunks from that document. So yeah, I hope now you get the idea how the character text splitter and the recursive text splitter works. Just give a try yourself. And one good part why we need to split it into different chunks is because if you see here, there is this page 0, and when we do the splitting, there is also the metadata being stored. So metadata is source data GPT for all PDF page 0, right? If you just go here and change these to let's say 1, and here you can see this is in page 1. This is from where we can provide, when we provide the sources from where this document is being extracted, right? And if you just also want to print the documents, let me go here, and you can even do docs, and then you can do 0. So now the good part here, as you can see from the length or the pages also, you can see, okay, what is the metadata. Pages 1 metadata is page 1, and here in the docs also you can already see that, okay, what is the metadata. It holds the metadata of the pages. So this is from page 0, right? So if you maybe go here and say 5, it might be showing you that, okay, page 1, because it is taking from that page. So this is the good metadata being stored in order to show in the answer part from which page the document is being extracted, meaning that when the LLM synthesize our answer, we can say, okay, this is the source from where the answer is being generated, right? So I think that is clear. Now let's go into the next part, that is the character text splitter and the recursive text splitter. I am still going to try show you 2 different splitters. So there is the token splitting also. So we can also split on token count explicitly if we want. And this, why I'm trying to explain this here, because many of you has asked me in my previous videos, okay, there is token limit error and it is not fitting into the context window, what is wrong, why it is not working, kind of things, right? You need to have a basic understanding how the token splitting happens. For a good helper, I have provided you the helper tool from this OpenAI's website. So this is the tokenizer. And just think of this. There is apple is APPLE, 5 characters. There is mango, MANGO, 5 characters. We will be thinking in a normal sense that okay, that must be a same token, right? But let's see what it will happen. Here I will first write apple. It says that okay, this is token 1, characters is 5. Okay, this is what we think also. Now what happens if I just go and type here mango? Now you can see this is 2 different tokens and 5 characters. Although it has the same 5 characters, it has 2 tokens, and yum is 1 token, a and go is another token. So you can say here okay, mango is best fruit. Now as you can see here, there is 6 tokens being created, and you can see yum is 1 token, a and go is another token, is another token, best fruit, and dot is another token. So this also gives you the idea okay, how the tokens and the characters help. And the rule of thumb is 4 characters 1 token. It's also written here. And what we can do is, if you want to split based on the token text splitter, we need to install the tick token here. And now just as an example, token text splitter, chunk size 1, overlap 0, just a simple example to understand. And we can say mango, apple, app, mango. This is just the example I just mentioned you in the visualizer, and I can just go here and split things. So yeah, apple is 1 token, mango, and now you can see APPLE apple is 1 token, mango, and you can see there is some space in front of this, and there is a and go, there is m, there is app, and there is all sorts of things. Why it is different here now? Again, there is another conflicting scenarios also you might be thinking. You might be thinking okay, mango was m, a and go, but why is here mango in 1 token? Because there is space in front of this, and it is taking the space. Now what I can do is I can merge all this now. So I will just add all things in one text, and if I run this, now you can see that app is 1 token, lem is another token, a and go, appm, a and go. So you can see that based on your text, splitting is different. This is the most important thing you need to understand if you want to create a better applications. Now you can just go and say okay, chunk overlap is 10, and you can now pass the documents that we had before. Just pass the documents, and now if you go and see here docs 0, so you can see that it just prints which characters are or content, page content is in this particular document, and there is the metadata also being associated with this. If you just want to print the metadata, it is just like this. So it prints the metadata, and you can assign this into your answer. And if you want to know how many documents now it is being chunked, you can just go here and write length of docs, and it will show you 714, because we are now chunking based on chunk size 10. I hope this is now clear about the token text splitter. Now there is the context aware splitting also, and that means that chunking aims to keep text with common context together, and I'm going to provide you the example of markdown here. And we can use the markdown header text splitter to preserve the header metadata in our chunks, right? For this we can just import the LangChain.text splitters, import this one, right? I will just import this. First I will provide you the simple example, and then I will show you one concrete example, real world example. So here, markdown document, this is the title, chapter 1, and hi, this is Jim, this is hi, this is Joy, and so on. I'll just provide this. Remember that there is these 2 lines, /n, all the things mentioned here. Now we want to split based on what? That is what it's important here. So headers to split on. So we want to split based on heading, header 1, header 2, header 3, right? We need to provide this. And now inside this markdown header splitter, we need to provide the headers to split on. And then we just provide the markdown documents. I just provided this markdown document. What happens now, right? So let me see the length. You can see there is 3 different splitting happening. If you go to the first one, so it says page content, hi, this is Jim, hi, this is Joey. So this is just being splitted, right? Hi, this is Jim, hi, this is Joey. And now the interesting part here is the metadata. It is saying here, okay, header 1 is title, header 2 is chapter 1. This is really important when you have markdown documents, because if there is some answer, you need to understand, okay, from which header and from which subheader or header 2 the source is being taken from. And if you want to go with the split second, you can see that there is the header title, right? And there is header 2 chapter, and even header 3 is the section, because hi, this is lens, right? So that is hi, this is lens. So that is coming from this title, this chapter, and this section. So we have this 3 label metadata being preserved in the metadata, so we can use this to enhance our answer. Now let's go with the real world example, and I'm taking the example of over 10Q from the markdown, and I'm using the llama parse, meaning that if you want to know in depth, I can show you the video. So this is the llama parse llama index video. So if you want to have in-depth understanding of what llama parse, please refer to this video. But here I have already used the same splitting documents, and I have also provided this inside this data folder over 10K, and this is the markdown, right? What we can do now is load that particular markdown file. Here I'm saying with open this, we just read that markdown text, and now we just say, okay, the same thing here, we want to split based on the header 1, header 2, header 3. If you have many headings also, header 4, header 5 or whatnot, please use the similar approach. And yeah, this is same as what I have also mentioned here. We can just go here and provide this, and now I'm passing all the markdown text of 106 pages long text. And now if I go here, there is 288 different splits. And if you want to go and see the splits, okay, the split is here, and you can see the metadata is header 1, Uber technologies, and this. And if you want to see, let's say, the split number 200, because we have 288, if you just go here, you can see that the document is here, and here we have the metadata, header 1 over this, header 2 operational metrics and challenges. We know that, okay, it is taking from this header, and it is taking from this header 1 and header. So yeah, the video went a little bit longer, but my aim here is to show you how to do things better to make your RAG application better. Because we just talk about RAG, this is the diagram, many people find it helpful, and okay, this is just the RAG things, how easy it is, right? It is not that easy. There are many pieces associated with it, and as I always say you, the garbage in, garbage out, similar in LLMs also. If you provide good documents or chunks for the LLMs, the answer will be better. So yeah, you can use different approaches that I have explained so far, and I will add this video also in this playlist. So just go through different playlists and create your LLM applications better. Let me know in the comment section how you feel about, because this is the approach that I'm taking. Instead of making 10-12 minutes video, I think it will be beneficial for many of you if I create a breakdown videos like this, which might go even more minutes. So yeah, let me know in the comment section how you feel about, and did you try it or not, and so on. And also, if you haven't subscribed, do so. I will be creating many videos in the future, and also suggest me in the videos that you want me to create, so I will try my best to create those videos. Yeah, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.